Vover.
This week on the Scuffle Show, we cover many things, MMA, and we have a guest appearance.
So what is the status of this USADA thing? All we're seeing is a plastic bag, which we're not sure if it's yet to be used, has already been used. What's going on here?
Not yet to be used. Unfortunately, she came at night, and I'm a morning kind of girl.
So what happens? They can just show up anytime. All right, That's gonna be good. Hey, Tatiana, thumbs up are perfect for podcasts.
You're right. Yes.
Nice.
They can show up whenever.
And what is it? Up to 6 times a year they can do it?
As many times
as they want.
Wow. I feel like them being able to show up in the middle of whatever you're doing makes them seem more like headhunters than drug testers.
Yeah.
They can
It's
show
like a
up
summons
at your house and essentially the equivalent of personal rating. So
yeah, instead of leaving with your car, they're leaving with your pee.
Yep.
it's crazy.
By the way, she's sitting right here, so try not to be too rude.
I know we can hear. We've got a guest.
Podcast guest?
A guest on the show.
Guest?
How many fighters have you visited today?
Fighters?
Or
2.
people? 2. Do you visit other people?
We do. We test all sports.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I have no follow-up question.
Okay. Carry on then.
Carry on.
Show up in normal people's houses too and just test them for the hell of it.
All right,
let's test Buster because we all know how he feels about him.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of Red Bull in my system. You will find a lot of that.
No, Buster, I think she was talking about your desire for a fully roided fight league.
Oh, you'll just find that in my head, nowhere else. That's the only place you'll detect that.
All right, well, we better get this going quick before Tatiana consumes too much water, and we've got to end the show. So, although she did indicate that it might not happen till the morning, which seems unbelievable, but that's for another episode.
One time, the USADA, what do you call it yourself? USADA DCO came when I was about to do the incline in Colorado Springs. They didn't, needless to say, they didn't make it. So they just waited for me to do it, and then I came back down, and then I went.
What is the incline's a hill, right? You run up the hill.
It's in Colorado, there's this thing called the incline. It's really, really steep, but it's like maybe like you feel like you're running up it, but you're just really not at all because it's so steep and it's such a steep incline.
But it's a real hill.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a mountain.
A mountain. Do we think that Buster could climb this mountain?
Yes, of course.
Could he run up the mountain?
Climb any mountain.
He could try. It might be hard, but you'll feel like you're running, but you won't really be going that fast.
I'm trying to visualize this. That's why I was confused. I'm trying to visualize this. So I was confused if it was one of those machines where the stairs keep going down, but you're running up, you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's not that.
So the DCO chased you up the hill?
DCO?
Did he chase you up
He tried. He didn't make it. He went back down.
Well, one thing I did test positive for this week is terrible picks. I went 0-3 this week.
What a segue.
Wow.
What a segue. Tatiana, let's take a moment to appreciate the skill with which Buster transitioned from one topic to another. That was unbelievable.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
What a great transition.
Nick, you went 2-1. You earned half a point. Tatiana, you also went 2-1, earning half a point.
Andrei Arlovsky. Buster, he heard what you were saying. He had a little extra motivation. He didn't like the disrespect. He didn't like to be forgotten so quickly.
I think so.
So he,
I think that's what happened.
Um,
That brings the
All right, so
grand total current standings to Tatiana's up 4.5 points. Nick, you've 3.25, and I have 2.25. I need a big week this week.
so we're pretty evenly spaced. We're all at 2.25, 3.25, 4.25.
4.5. Tatiana's a 1.25 lead.
Is it possible that we have the strangest point scoring system in the history of any kind of contest? I mean, we've been doing this forever, and our scores are 2.25, 3.25, and 4.25.
I'm trying to think of another sport that has a more bizarre score system, and I can't. Football is pretty weird. American football.
Should we take a vote to multiply by 10? So from now on, it just sounds so much more dramatic if we're like Tatiana's in the lead at 42.5, followed by me at 32.5, followed by Buster at 22.5. But that also puts Buster so far behind, 20 points behind, that it sounds terrible. So
I like the way that sounds. Let's keep it at that.
go with the times 10.
Yeah.
Or the okay. I think
While
I
we're
agree.
at
All
it,
we
might
need
as
is
well-
2.
Since Nick loves that so much, we might as well multiply it by 1,000. That would make the score 4,500 to 3,250 to
2,250.
2,250.
Jeez, guys.
All right. I think that's a mouthful. I think we're gonna go with times 10.
I think that's a good idea.
Brett, can you note that next week's scorecard? Any thoughts on the fights, Tatiana?
Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch them last week.
What's up with the NFT? Where is it? Is the original artwork in your possession? Has it been scanned?
I think
Framed?
It's in my car.
Really, it still exists.
Yes.
Has it?
Wow.
Has anyone sat on it or been wrinkled?
With it, but it exists.
My God, we really need to get this somehow scanned.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was good too.
I wiped
think,
it on my mouth for like, so sell more. Sell for a higher price.
That is how NFTs work.
Yeah.
Every great artist rubs it on their face.
On their face.
Sell it.
We're no longer asking for ETH. We're asking for Bitcoin now.
Oh
All
my
right.
God, this is ridiculous.
Is it a 1 of 1 or is there going to be a series? Is I guess the biggest question. I've been getting a lot on Twitter. Is there one of these, or is there going to be a whole bunch of these?
No, I didn't catch the artist bug.
All right, so we'll do the 1, and we'll see if the
We'll do
financial
the 1.
rewards. Listen, here's what's going to happen. We're going to get the 1. We're going to put it for sale. It's going to explode on the internet, and suddenly she's going to be like, I want to do more, but it's not about the money. It's about the art. That's what's going to happen.
Stupid.
What do you think, Buster?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
And Buster, where are you?
I'm in my room. I'm here in Connecticut. Got cards over there.
Oh, wow.
Moving back. I'm moving not next week, I don't think, but the week after I will be doing the show from my new apartment in the city. So
Nice.
New
I would have
York?
not.
yeah, in the city.
Yeah, nice.
Buster, it's not the only city. We got, San Francisco is the city. It was the way you said that. The way you said that was so dismissive. She's like New York, and you're like, yeah, the city.
The city. I mean, it's the greatest city in the world.
Just the city.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's the greatest.
I wouldn't either. Tatiana, if you were given a choice and you had to bet before Buster's reveal, is he sitting indoors or outdoors? What would you have said? Like, what did you do to your wall, Buster?
Oh, it was just like a wooden.
Did you try to?
I knew
Did you-
where he was going.
Did you try to escape at some point?
Never. Well, maybe.
You have a bunch of paint on your fingernails.
Maybe the person before me did. That's possible.
You looked around the room and you're like, "This is where I'm going to sit."
Yeah, this is the spot. Yeah, it's actually just a Zoom background. Zoom's number one background is
Nice. No, I thought for
can't
sure.
breathe.
I don't know why.
Oh my God.
I totally assumed you were in Austin when I saw that. I assumed you were outdoors in Austin.
honestly. It does look like a painting that would be behind somebody in an Austin Airbnb.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that?
What?
Is I couldn't even answer because I knew you were going with it.
You're a step ahead.
Oh my God.
We
This is great.
Buster's backgrounds are one of the best parts of the show.
Always different every week.
True.
And you've got to be watching the video to be able to get it. I feel bad for anybody listening to the audio who's missing out on this.
That's true. We can
Yeah.
start it. In fact, we can start an account just of Buster's backgrounds.
Well, there's a very popular Twitter called Room Rater, which rates the backgrounds of people who do interviews on Zoom. So I feel like we should make a call.
Okay, Nick, you got a 10.
I noticed that the sky colors coming in before it was all blown out. So now it does look nice behind me.
Yeah, Nick, you have great
Little
background.
sunset going.
Last week was the airplane cockpit. This week is
That's true. Too much turbulence last week. After the show, that landing took me forever.
Because he had
So
those on, but he was-
I want to stay on land. Stay on land this
Like
time.
that is a good touch of blue though for a West Coast background.
Yeah, I did turn it. It's funny. It doesn't look anything like that behind me in real life.
What's
It
it
looks
look
like-
like?
It looks like super light blue, almost gray with
It
like
looks
little
it
orange.
looks like my
orange-
background in
Orange
real
streaks.
life.
Yeah,
Fine.
it does. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
right now I'm
What-
turning
what-
around. I'm just
what-
staring at a brick wall.
I didn't even ask. I was really laughing.
There you go, Buster. We've got Paulo Costa scheduled to fight 185 pounds. Sends word from Brazil. No problem. Don't worry. I'll be in great shape. Oh no, it's not going to be 185, but at whatever weight it's at will be the best weight for me to fight at. So now he's fighting Marvin Vettori at a catch weight of 195 pounds. What is going on?
Well, I heard from a little bird that not Marvin, Costa was in the sauna eating apples.
That's not quite tiramisu, but it sounds a little
Yeah, but I
controversial.
mean, like when you're during fight week, the last thing you want to do is eat fruit.
Yeah, no, I feel like he openly basically said, no, I'm not going to make weight, but the fight will go on and it's actually better for me, which I feel like we've been setting some precedents lately where it's starting to become, I mean, we had Diaz Lawler. Hey, we're just going to fight at a different weight. So I feel like there's certain fights where it seems to be, and this one doesn't actually make any sense because this feels like it should be close to, both these guys should be able to get back to another title shot with a little streak. So it feels like a weird one to mess with the weight classes. If it was just two guys nowhere near title contention, both happy to miss weight, that seems okay. Buster, you see that? We've reached this portion. We've reached this portion of the
I
episode
knew you were
where,
gonna say something, but
sorry, it's such a boring question. All right, what's the answer? Is this going to be a new trend we see?
bore. Well, I think it's kind of unprofessional because when you sign a contract, it says the weight on it. So
Yeah.
if you can't make the weight, don't sign the contract.
Yeah, but what if your contract says the weight?
Right.
You're having a tough cut, you want some apples, whatever it is, and then you go, you know what? last card and 3 cards ago, guys showed up and said, I think I'd like to change my weight, please. Like,
Yeah.
won't more people start doing that?
I mean, if it's like, I think like if you feel that way months in advance, you should be like, well, that's what I want to fight at.
Yeah.
kind of seems undisciplined to me when you show up and you're that heavy over like that much. That's that heavy. It's just kind of to me it's unprofessional. It doesn't seem, you know what I mean? Like you knew when you signed that contract what weight you had to get to. So I'm not exactly sure why you think like you could just change at the last moment, especially when your opponent is doing everything they can in order to make the weight that was signed. So you don't know how that affected Marvin's training if he's, you know, cutting back on food and he can't train as hard because he's cutting back on food because he knows he has to make a certain weight class. It just kind of just I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, Marvin's game, right? And he's gonna take the fight regardless, and he wants to beat him anyways. So
Yeah.
I mean, but to me, it just kind of seems like a slap in the face to your opponent, really, because they plan accordingly, and you should too.
Yeah, it definitely is. But at the same time, maybe there are people who think, you know, do whatever you have to do to win, even if it's as ridiculous as something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it
I don't know.
feels to me like it's very similar to the nut shot and the eye poke, where
Do what you
there's-
got to do, man.
there's just not, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. I mean, if you're Marvin Vittori, you're like, what am I supposed to do? I just put into camp, had my expenses, I'm ready to fight. So now, because this guy shows up heavier, the choices for me are don't fight. I guess it's debatable if he'd get his show money anyway. And then, so yeah, it doesn't feel like I don't know. I think it's interesting. It could be that there's a lot of cases where if both guys don't care, who cares? But it feels like we've never really seen. This doesn't seem like something we'd seen before, and now we've seen it a couple times over the last couple of cards. So who's going to win this fight, given the catch weight? I don't know if it affects anything.
I don't know.
I'll
I'm
make
gonna.
Yep, Tatiana, you go ahead first. And
Yeah, you go
put
first.
second
I feel
before
like
Nick picks.
there's not going to be a conflict on this one.
I'm gonna go with Marvin. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go with Marvin. See how this plays out.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Costa, 13-1.
I'm going to go with Marvin. I was
After
praying
this
that Buster
week,
would not.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be 13-2, baby.
I was hoping that Buster. I thought, here we go again. Buster fucking jumped in. He's going to take Marvin, and I'm going to have to take Costa. But I don't find anything really. Even though we're supposed to be predicting who we think's going to win, I like picking the people that I want to win. I don't really see anything incredibly likable about Costa that would make me want to watch the fight and root for him.
That's fair. That's fair.
But then again, Buster,
What about his new hair transplant? Does that make you like him?
You got a
you got a hair transplant?
Well, I think so because didn't you see that picture where he was like bald and then like they were like I don't know, they were doing something to his head.
Here, I'm looking up Costa bald.
You should look up while you're at it. Look up how much hair transplants weigh. If it says 10 pounds, then we've gotten to the bottom of this.
That's a good point. That's a really good
Oh
point.
my
I
God,
think
Nick with the jokes
I
today.
think we should let them know.
I'm just jealous when people start talking about hair. I just get sensitive and lash out.
We have Grant Dawson, 17-1, versus Rick Glenn in the lightweight, 22-6-1. Who wants to pick first?
I'll take Grant Dawson. I didn't have an opinion. I just wanted to pick first on this one. So
Wow, way to go. Way to go.
So his last
now I
fight,
might be second guessing my decision.
His last fight he won on March 20th versus Leonardo Santos in a TKO in round 3.
I'm picking him.
All right. Buster?
So
Big G.
that leaves me with Big G. I'm left with Big G.
This has got to be the strangest prediction show in the history of sports.
I think it's kind of fun.
I do too. But all right, and then can we bet on the
system.
women's fight? Or I mean, bet. Can we make predictions on the women's fight, or do you want to skip this one, Tatiana?
What's right?
Jessica Rose Clark versus Jocelyn Edwards.
Oh, I'm picking Jessica.
All right, Buster, you go next.
I'm gonna pick Jessica. I'm gonna ride the wave on this fight.
There was no hesitation when she made that pick, but at the same time, I think the aura of invincibility is gone a little bit because the streak is over. She's back to
The streak is
being one of us.
A little bit wonky these last few weeks.
All right, I got Jocelyn Edwards. Marvin, Grant, and Jocelyn are going to bring me closer to the first place score of
Wait, how do
425,000.
we all have the same guy though? I thought we couldn't do that.
We don't.
No, you picked Jessica, and so did Buster.
No, I picked Grant.
Oh wait,
And
yeah.
Everybody picked Grant.
No,
I
Buster
picked
has Rick.
Rick Glenn.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Yeah. And then so Buster has Paulo, Rick, and wait, Buster and I have no picks in common.
It's only gonna be one of us this week.
Oh, Buster, come on. Fight rumors. You've got to be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Your guy, Jake Paul, is rumored to fight Tommy Fury. What do you think?
Which would be a very, very well selling fight. People really like Tommy.
Yeah, I think it'd be I'm interested in the Jake Paul fights now. I'm not a I don't have a very good way of gauging the talent level as far as how far it can go within boxing, but I think he's proven that in these fights they're fun, they're entertaining.
Tommy Fury is apparently he's got good hands. I've never actually seen him fight, but the way people are talking about him is different than how they're talking about everybody else he's fought, which if you're Jake, or if you're a fan of Jake, or even if you're not a fan of Jake, you just hope that he keeps ratcheting up until he's fighting real boxers. Like, I hope one day Jake Paul gets a fight with somebody super legit, like not a Canelo, but maybe. I hope that happens one day at some point.
Well, Tatiana on a previous episode said she hopes that happens as well, but it was for totally different reasons.
I'm not saying I'm rooting for Jake. I just want to see him get to that point where nobody can say anything, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah. But at the same time, if I'm him, like we're as observers, we have this need to put like a certain level on him. But if I'm him, I'm just taking, fights that I think are winnable. And although that's not true, he can't do that anymore because he has said his goal of taking the steps upwards to eventually fight Canelo. And I think he said even Canelo when he's way past his prime, but still he wants that fight. Speaking of fights, our old friend has appeared again in the news by
Mr. McGregor,
a DJ in the mouth.
I did another NFT.
All right, what do we got? What's the story? First, what's the story behind it?
Paulo Costa in the sauna eating apples.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a bestseller right there. That's a bestseller.
What about the hair? Let's add the hair into the story.
No, I put it. You want me to put the hair?
Yeah.
The transplanted hair. You should put the hair transplanter in there too.
Yeah.
That will really run it up.
All right. And the hair transplant.
There it is. 2 of 2.
And a big glass of water.
Wow.
All right. So
he's not cutting no weight.
No, we need to preserve that one. Preserve that one. Grab the other one. We need to get them scanned. All right. Well, listen, if you're still listening to us, we really appreciate it. I think if anyone got to this point, we've got to reward them in some way. How should we reward them? If anyone's listening right now and you were to, I don't even know.
Honestly, I think some of these episodes are more entertainment than anything else. Like, there is no way you would be in a worse mood after listening to one of our episodes than when you first started. There's zero chance.
Unless
Actually,
unless you
a
were
drug.
logging on hoping for in-depth breakdown of this week's fights.
Fight
That's true.
analysis.
That's true. It's all about setting the expectation.
Well,
Yeah.
Grant Dawson, I think if you really want some in-depth, I think I'm not sure, but I thought Grant Dawson was the wrestler. Is he a wrestler?
Yes.
I think he's gonna wrestle that guy all up. And then Jessica Rose Clark, I think she's gonna have some good Muay Thai. I think the girl's really long and rangy, but I think she gets it done. And then as for Marvin, I think maybe he can make Paulo a little bit tired by some wrestling exchanges if he uses his wrestling, and just I mean maybe get like a decision win over Costa.
And there you have it. Now,
Actually, 5 rounds. I just don't see Costa like. And then Marvin has a good chin. So,
do you think that coming in heavy will help Costa's cardio or hurt it?
I don't know. I think he's gonna be a little bit thicker, like not, you know what I mean. And I think it's gonna slow him down a little bit. He's gonna be a little bit slower. I think. I feel like when you're a little bit lighter, he's going to be carrying around all that weight. So.
And what do you think should happen I would imagine if Vittoria wins, the UFC would look at it like, hey, good job. Thanks for taking the fight at a higher weight and continue on your middleweight path. What if Costa wins? Does it advance them at all in the middleweight division? Or is it like, hey, dude, what are you doing? You have to go fight it. You have to either take another fight that's not going to be a step forward to prove you can make middleweight again, or will he advance in the rankings, etc.?
Good question. I don't know. I think they should make him do another fight. Yeah, I don't think he should get a title fight after that. It's not, especially because it goes to, if you can't make the weight now, can you make the weight later, kind of thing, and you have to be able to make the set weight to be a champion.
What do you think he walks around at? I mean, he balloons up between fights, right? But what do you think? Because 195 is a weird one. It's not like he's like right in the middle of 2 weight classes. It's not like he came in where they can be like, hey, you're a light heavyweight. But it's not like he came in.
He probably gets
on
around like 230, I would think.
Yeah. How much weight will these guys put back on by fight time? Even if they were fighting at 185, how many pounds would a average 185er put back on before the fight started, do you think?
I don't know. Probably like 210, maybe 205. No, like let's see, 95. 205, I would say, like about 20 pounds, I think.
Is it like the weigh-in weight and then the weight by fight time? Is it consistent? Like it's like, oh, everyone's usually 15% heavier across weight classes? Or is it more like it's 20 pounds has to be easier for a light heavyweight to lose than a lightweight, right? Or no? Like, is it relative? Or is it just like a pound is a pound?
What are you asking it?
Like if we said, hey, usually the average fighter puts on 10 pounds between weigh-ins in a fight, just a random number. Or is it more like the average fighter puts on, 20% of their weight, right? So
I think a lot of guys put on around at least like 15 to 20 pounds. Yeah.
So crazy. As someone where it's so
well,
foreign,
especially
like
the bigger guys. I wouldn't say like the smaller guys, but definitely maybe the bigger guys. And I think maybe even somebody like Figueiredo, but that's really big, kind of thick for the weight class. I think he probably walks around 15 pounds more fight day. I think. I'm just guessing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I gain, and I'm a 100 when I go out there, I'm around 125, so that's 10 pounds, and I'm a girl.
Yeah, and that's almost, so it's about 10%, a little under 10%, 115, whatever. Yeah, 10 pounds is almost 10%.
Yeah.
So if it was the same for a light heavyweight, yeah, it'd be about 20 pounds. Middleweight would be about 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to this
A lot of
guy.
weight.
He's a featherweight, and he said that he gets like 165 or 160 fight day. But he's also very tall for the weight class too. He's like 6'1".
Wow. So if Buster and I decided to lose weight, I mean not lose weight, cut weight, what percent of our body weight would it be pretty easy? And then at what point would we just be like, oh my God, I can't, this is brutal.
I think it
5% would
depends
be
on.
right?
I think it depends on you, and like it just depends on the weight cut, because there's certain ways where you could cut weight and you could feel okay, but it just really depends on if you do a weight cut well or if you do a weight cut terribly, because it's all about the process when it comes to weight cutting. So like they have a whole thing at the PI where they make you eat certain foods, they make you drink certain things throughout fight week, and so I really think it just depends on like how much water you were taking in the week of, and if you water loaded, how you cut the weight. Like some people like baths, some people like sauna. There's no one for all kind of thing. So I feel like it really just depends on how you do it. Like we can have you sit in a sauna for a while, or we can have you work it off, or we can have you do a bath. So it just depends. I think everybody responds differently, you know. So yeah. I personally work the weight off. I don't sit in saunas. I don't do a bath.
I don't understand how people get the energy to keep doing all these workouts during camp when they're cutting weight. It's like if I have a salad for dinner, I have a hard time in the workout the next morning. That's just probably psychological.
I'm with you there. I need something more.
What so Tatiana, now is it required, or is it pretty standard? Like when there's a card, everyone comes into town. They used to find a local gym, right? They would all splinter off into local gyms. Does everyone go into the PI now for the week before the fight?
Well, it depends on if they're in Vegas, yeah. So if it's in Vegas, yes, they do it at the PI.
And then is there like, hey, you guys can come at certain times and you can come at certain times?
Yeah, they had like people go certain times so that the opponents don't run into each other.
So you are at the PI, you could really be feeding. Actually, it wouldn't make sense. You're in the competition. I was going to be saying you could feed us information so we can make better picks, but you're also
sounds like insider trading.
Yeah. So that would really do us no good. Oh well, there goes that angle.
Well, we also can't be around the fighters, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, because of COVID stuff. So does that limit your hours, or there's just enough rooms where everyone can...
Yeah, they limit the hours. So like Wednesday, Thursday, they make us they close it at 2. So all the fighters are like during that time, they come in around 2 o'clock and they go and cut weight and stuff.
So in basketball, Klay Thompson, he tore his ACL and then he I think he hurt his Achilles, right? And he said, having to sit there and watch the team play, he's like, it just kills me. Like you can see him on the sideline. He's just like slamming the basketball into the ground and just like his head's going to explode because he's like so close to the game and he wants to just step onto the court so bad and he can't. Is it hard for you to be around fighters on fight week, or is it like more just like a reminder and motivation that you're going to be back soon?
Yeah, it's just a reminder and motivation. I like to be positive about everything. So like right now I'm just focusing on the things that I can do, like work out, and I'm doing new things every week. So it's to me, it's exciting, but like, especially considering like where I was on crutches for 8 weeks, you know? So for me, I'm really happy that I can even walk at this point, because there has been worse times where I could not walk and I couldn't even carry a coffee, you know what I mean? Because I had crutches.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I'm grateful that I can even do that. And yeah, of course, like I want to fight and stuff like that, but I think there's really no point in me like sulking, and you know what I mean? I just need to focus on what I can and what I can do as opposed to what I can't do. And that's always been how I live my life, and that's how I get through challenges. I like to be happy. I don't like to be miserable, so that's what I do.
I think that's
good attitude. I think maybe that's gonna rub off on me and Buster. I mean, Buster is, look at him. He's down in the dumps. I'm always just, I'm just always going over what if. This is inspiring. Yeah,
I
new
wonder
leaf right now.
what's the most weight you can cut in a short period of time while it's still healthy for you? Like, is there a threshold?
think-
Is 5
I think
pounds in a
the-
week healthy, or what's that line?
At 115, the most I've ever cut was probably 6 the day before. And
6 pounds
then
in a
like
day. How hard is that to do?
not hard. I put some plastics on. I go like this a little bit, then I roll on the ground, and then I go back and I cry a little bit, and then I get back up and I do hip mitts again, and then I roll on the ground, and then I cry again, and then I do it all over again for like maybe 40 minutes, and then I'm done.
Sounds like
That
fun.
seems crazy to me. Yeah, that's a lot. So is it easier?
I cry so I can shed more weight.
But do you sweat? Like, is it easier to, if you're in the better shape you are, do you sweat more? So it's easier to cut
so
at the end of a
more
camp?
the more muscle that you have, the more you sweat. Yes. So it's easier for you to cut weight, I think. So your muscle carries a lot of water. So when you have more muscle, you can excrete more water, more sweat.
So it'd be easier to lose 10 pounds at the end of camp than it would be to lose 10 pounds in the middle of camp or the beginning of camp?
No, not really, because sometimes people lose muscle throughout the camp in order to make weight, because they're starting to lower their calorie intake, right? So then and then they're working out a lot and stuff like that. So it leads to, yes, muscular endurance, better cardio, but sometimes if you're starting to cut back the calories, you're gonna lose muscle mass as well. So like a lot of fighters say they have to cut some weight, and beforehand they wanted to gain some muscle, they'll probably supplement some creatine to add some more muscle mass. And then when camp starts, they're like, oh, I got to take the creatine back because it keeps muscle in, right? So you have to sometimes, like, it just depends on your goal. Like for 125, they're like, you can have as much creatine as you want because you're not going to really be cutting that much weight. But if I was fighting at 115, most definitely they'd be like, cut back on the creatine because you're going to have to lose some muscle.
I might go buy some creatine tomorrow.
Yeah, same.
You know, it's also good for your brain too, right?
I don't know.
They
All I do-
use it they use it for, like, say you get a concussion. It's a good supplement to take if you get a concussion.
All I know is they say the older you get, the harder it is to maintain muscle. And I always say I'm going to start doing weights tomorrow because all I do is like a body weight and cardio stuff all the time. And I'm like, tomorrow I'll do weights. Tomorrow I'll do weights. But tomorrow never comes.
Nick, you gotta say today.
Today.
Or
What time is it?
yesterday. Say yesterday.
I can say yesterday.
I'm just joking.
Not unless
Tomorrow.
you didn't do weights, then you'd be a liar.
Tomorrow I'll do it. Next week, you guys are going to notice a huge difference. I'm either going to be 10 pounds lighter or I'm going to be ripped. There's no in between.
7'4".
Yeah. We're either cutting weight or putting on weight today. But I'm going to use this opportunity to transition us. Brett and I don't have to go anywhere. Buster's got to go to bed. Tatiana's got to go to the bathroom. So we're going to end this show on that note. A sign off like no other.
There it is. That's our outro. All right. I'll see you guys next time.